10 Ways to Enjoy Your Life to the Fullest. Have you ever felt that life is passing you by, locked in a loop of expectations and missed moments? What if the real joy lies just outside the comfort zone? What if the key to living fully isn't about achieving more, but about embracing the chaos and imperfection around you? Imagine discovering that true freedom comes not from control, but from surrendering to life's unpredictability. Are you ready to unlock this new way of living? How often do you hear the phrase "live life to the fullest" and wonder exactly what that means? Society constantly tells us how to live. Follow the rules, seek success, chase happiness. But what if living life to the fullest goes beyond these conventional ideas? What if the path to truly enjoying your life lies in embracing the raw, unfiltered moments, shedding the illusions, and daring to create your own meaning? Instead of waiting for it to show up in today's episode, we're diving into 10 unconventional ways to live a life that feels alive, not by following the usual advice, but by challenging the norms and embracing the chaos, uncertainty, and depth that life has to offer. Ready to break free from the expectations and truly live? Let's get started. 1. Stop worshiping meaning created instead. How often have you found yourself obsessing over finding the meaning of life? We've all been taught that the purpose of life is something you need to discover, as if it's a hidden treasure just waiting to be unearthed. We search for it in books, religions, relationships, and achievements, believing that once we find it, everything will fall into place. But here's the truth. Meaning isn't something that's given to us. It's something we actively create through our actions, relationships, and mindset. The constant search for meaning often leaves us feeling empty because it places our happiness and purpose outside of ourselves as something we need to find. We look for signs, signals, or deep moments of clarity to confirm our sense of purpose, but in doing so, we ignore the truth. We have the power to create our own meaning every single day. Life isn't about uncovering some grand universal truth. It's about deciding what your life means to you right now. In this very moment, the Stoics understood this well. They didn't wait for meaning to come to them. They understood that life's purpose is built through the choices we make, the relationships we form, and how we live our values day in and day out. Seneca, for instance, encouraged people to live in alignment with their values and virtues because that's where true meaning is found. Not in external achievements or societal validation, but in how we show up and live authentically. So how can you start creating meaning in your life today, instead of asking, what is the meaning of life? Ask yourself, what meaning can I create today? Focus on the actions and decisions that bring you closer to your values. Start small in your interactions, in the work you do, and the way you spend your time. Meaning is not something to search for. It's something to build. You can start by infusing purpose into even the smallest of moments. Choose to help others. Express gratitude. Challenge yourself and embrace growth. By doing so, you create a life rich with meaning. No waiting required. Imagine today, instead of searching for meaning in all the wrong places, you decided to create your own. Every action you take, every choice you make is a building block of meaning. The more you focus on actively creating your purpose, the more fulfilled and alive you'll feel, because you are the one giving life its true meaning. 2. Live as if you were already dead. Have you ever considered what it would be like to live as though you were already dead? At first, this may sound morbid or unsettling, but bear with me. The samurai practiced a powerful principle called dying before you die. This practice involves mentally accepting death every day, reflecting on the fleeting nature of life, and truly internalizing the fact that we are all inevitably mortal. Why would anyone choose to meditate on death? Because when you accept the reality of your own mortality, something powerful happens. Fear begins to lose its grip on you, and you start living with greater clarity, focus, and purpose. Most people live in constant fear of death, avoiding thinking about it or acting as though it will never come. This fear can keep us stuck in the status quo, afraid to take risks, afraid to be vulnerable, and often afraid to truly live. But the samurai understood something profound. When you realize that each moment could be your last, you stop wasting time. You stop letting fear hold you back. You start living every day as if it were your last, and in doing so, you begin to appreciate life in its royal, most authentic form. When you accept death, you also accept the urgency of life. This isn't about being obsessed with an end, but about realizing that the time we have is precious, and it should be used wisely. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote often about the importance of reflecting on death and the impermanence of life. He wasn't morbid or pessimistic. He understood that contemplating death made every moment feel more significant. It reminded him that life is fleeting and that we shouldn't waste time on trivial matters, grudges, or distractions. Think about how different your life would be if you approached every moment with this awareness that nothing is guaranteed and the present moment is all you really have. Imagine the courage you'd have to pursue your passions, confront your fears, and make the most of every opportunity. This doesn't mean living recklessly or being consumed by the thought of death, but rather embracing the idea that because our time is limited, we should focus on what truly matters. When you live as if you were already dead, nothing holds you back. You free yourself from the fear of failure, judgment, and regret. So how can you start living as if you were already dead today? Begin by reflecting on your mortality. Regularly, ask yourself, if I knew I had limited time, how would I spend it? What would I prioritize? What would I let go of? Challenge yourself to act with more urgency and purpose. Stop waiting for the perfect moment and start taking action. Now, realize that every decision, every relationship, and every experience is a precious opportunity. Imagine today, instead of allowing fear to control your actions, you embrace the idea of living fully and fearlessly. You approached each moment with the understanding that time is precious, and you used it to focus on what truly matters, whether it's pursuing your dreams, loving the people around you, or simply experiencing life as it comes. 3. Stop trying to escape. Immerse yourself in the chaos. How often do you find yourself escaping from life's challenges, whether it's through distractions, entertainment, or just retreating into your comfort zone? Whether it's binge-watching TV shows, endlessly scrolling through social media, or indulging in habits that numb your mind, most people are in a constant state of escape. We run from the discomfort, the chaos, the uncertainty of life, believing that if we just distract ourselves enough, we'll be able to avoid the pain. But what if I told you that the true path to growth and transformation lies not in avoiding chaos, but in immersing yourself fully in it? In today's world, we live in an age of constant distractions where we're encouraged to disconnect from reality and escape the unpleasant parts of life. But the reality is, the more we avoid the chaos, the more we miss out on the growth, learning, and deeper connections that come from engaging with it. Life isn't meant to be a smooth, uninterrupted flow. It's filled with challenges, discomfort, and uncertainty. The Stoics understood this and embraced the chaos rather than running from it. They taught that true strength comes from facing adversity, head-on, not avoiding it. Marcus Aurelius, for example, often wrote in his meditations about the importance of accepting the chaos of life as part of our growth and development. Escaping from discomfort only gives it power over you. It creates a cycle where you feel temporarily relieved, but ultimately return to the same challenges, often more deeply rooted. The more you try to numb or avoid your problems, the longer they persist, and the more control they have over your life. In contrast, when you face life's chaos with open arms, you break the cycle. You confront your fears, grow stronger from them, and develop the resilience to navigate life's uncertainties without being consumed by them. Think about the times when you've avoided a tough situation only to find that it worsened over time. The discomfort of facing challenges may seem unbearable in the moment, but by confronting it, you release its power over you. The Stoics believed that the key to peace wasn't the absence of difficulties, it was the ability to find peace within them. They didn't look for ways to escape life's problems. They looked for ways to embrace them with calmness, clarity, and strength. So how can you start immersing yourself in life's chaos today? First, recognize when you're tempted to escape, when you feel the urge to distract yourself or avoid something difficult. Ask yourself, what would happen if I face this situation? Head-on instead. Consciously choose to confront challenges rather than run from them. This doesn't mean creating unnecessary conflict or seeking chaos for chaos's sake. It means engaging with life's natural rhythm. understanding that discomfort is part of the process and embracing it as a stepping stone to growth. Imagine today, instead of looking for distractions or running from the uncomfortable parts of your life, you dove straight into the chaos you embraced, uncertainty, accepted the discomfort, and let it push you toward transformation. By doing so, you'll not only gain new strength and wisdom, but you'll also learn that true peace comes not from avoiding the messiness of life, but from accepting and navigating it with courage. 4. Destroy the perfect life illusion. How often do you find yourself chasing the idea of a perfect life, a life where everything falls into place just as you've imagined it? We sold this illusion from a young age. The perfect career, the perfect relationship, the perfect house, and the perfect family. Society teaches us that we should always strive for perfection, constantly measuring our happiness and success against an ideal that often feels just out of reach. But here's the truth. The perfect life is a myth, a social fiction designed to keep us perpetually chasing something that doesn't exist. The pursuit of perfection can lead us down a never-ending path of dissatisfaction. We keep thinking that once we achieve the perfect job, relationship, or lifestyle, everything will finally fall into place. But when we reach these goals, we're often left with the realization that they don't provide the happiness or fulfillment we expected. Why? Because there is no such thing as the perfect life. Every experience, every relationship, every success comes with its challenges, flaws, and imperfection. Perfections. The real magic of life happens not in perfection, but in the messiness, the unpredictability, and the authenticity of the journey. The Stoics understood this deeply. They didn't waste time chasing after unattainable ideals. Instead, they focused on what they could control, how they responded to life's challenges, how they cultivated inner peace, and how they lived with virtue. They embraced the imperfections of life and recognized that these challenges were an essential part of growth. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reflected on the nature of imperfection, reminding himself that life is not meant to be flawless, but full of lessons, experiences, and growth. To the Stoics, perfection was not the goal. It was about accepting life as it comes and making the best of every situation, regardless of how imperfect it might seem. Think about it. How many times have you been frustrated because things didn't go according to plan, or because life didn't match the ideal image you had in your mind? Maybe you were disappointed with the outcome of a project, or the course of a relationship didn't align with your expectations. Instead of focusing on how things should be, take a moment to appreciate how they actually are. Life is raw, unfiltered, and full of unpredictability. And that's where the beauty lies. There is no need for perfection when you can embrace life in all its forms, with all its ups and downs. So how can you destroy the illusion of the perfect life and start embracing the one you have? Begin by shifting your focus away from perfection. Instead of measuring yourself against an unattainable ideal, focus on making progress, embracing the challenges and appreciating the lessons you're learning along the way. Stop comparing your life to others, and stop holding on to the belief that there's some ideal version of life waiting for you. Life isn't about achieving perfection. It's about living authentically with purpose and acceptance of what is imagined today. Instead of striving for perfection, you embrace the reality of your life as it is. Flaws, challenges, and all. You stopped waiting for everything to be perfect before you could be happy, and instead found joy in the journey itself. By letting go of the illusion of perfection, you open yourself to a more fulfilling, authentic experience, where every moment, imperfection and all, becomes a part of your story. 5. Abandon the need to be understood. How often do you find yourself longing for validation, hoping others will understand your thoughts, feelings, or actions? We live in a world where we are constantly seeking approval, whether it's from friends, family, colleagues, or society at large. The desire to be understood is natural, but it can also be one of the most limiting forces in our lives. The more we cling to the need for validation and understanding from others, the more we lose sight of our own sense of worth and identity. The truth is, you don't need anyone else to get you in order to be whole or valid. When you tie your self-worth to other people's perceptions or seek to be understood by everyone around you, you're giving away your power. You become dependent on external validation, which can be unstable, and fleeting people's opinions change, and their understanding of you is always colored by their own experiences, biases, and perspectives. So if you spend your life waiting for others to truly understand you, you'll constantly find yourself frustrated, misunderstood, and emotionally exhausted. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, emphasized the importance of self-reliance and internal validation. They believed that the only person who truly needed to understand you was yourself. When you live for the approval of others, you compromise your authentic self by seeking to be understood. You may unknowingly mold yourself into someone you're not just to fit the expectations of others. The Stoics rejected this need for validation. They understood that true freedom comes from living according to your own values, not the opinions of those around you. Think about how much energy you spend trying to explain yourself or seeking approval, whether it's in personal relationships, at work, or on social media. We often find ourselves in a constant cycle of trying to get others to understand us, but when we let go of the need to be understood, we stop seeking permission for our existence. We stop letting others' opinions dictate our actions, and we become free to live on our own terms without the constant need to explain ourselves or seek validation instead of trying to make everyone understand. You start by understanding yourself. Reflect on your values, desires, and boundaries. What do you want out of life? Who do you want to be, regardless of what others think? When you define yourself, you remove the need for external approval. This doesn't mean you should isolate yourself or stop caring about others' feelings, but it means that your worth and sense of direction come from within, not from the understanding or approval of others. So how can you begin to abandon the need to be understood? Today, start by noticing when you're seeking validation. Ask yourself, am I trying to gain approval from others because I don't feel confident in my own choices? Instead of explaining yourself, try simply acting in alignment with your values and allowing your actions to speak for themselves. When you stop waiting for others to understand you stop letting their opinions control your narrative. Imagine today, instead of seeking understanding from others, you embraced your own truth without fear of judgment. You let go of the need for approval and simply lived according to your values. In doing so, you'd experience a deeper sense of freedom and authenticity, no longer tethered to the fleeting need to be understood by those around you. 6. Burn your old identity and recreate yourself. How often do you find yourself holding onto an identity that no longer serves you? Maybe it's the person you used to be or the roles you've played for years, whether it's the hard worker, the quiet one, the people pleaser, or even the overachiever. These labels may have once felt like your foundation, but over time, they can start to limit you. You begin to believe that you are only one thing, only capable of one type of success or behavior. But here's the truth. You are not fined by your past or the identity you've created. For yourself, you have the power to reinvent yourself at any moment. The idea of burning your old identity and recreating yourself is about breaking free from the story you've been telling yourself. It's about shedding the labels that have been placed on you, whether by society, family, or even by your own expectations, and choosing to become the person you truly want to be. The Stoics were all about self-transformation. They believed that we are not born fixed. We are constantly evolving, learning, and reshaping ourselves. Marcus Aurelius and Seneca both wrote about the power of self-reflection and the importance of continuous self-improvement, urging us to evolve beyond our old habits, thoughts, and even our former selves. Think about it. How often do we cling to identities that no longer serve us? Maybe you've defined yourself by past mistakes, regrets, or labels others have put on you. You may have spent years identifying with a version of yourself that isn't aligned with who you want to be today. The problem with holding on to an old identity is that it keeps you trapped in a version of yourself that may be outdated, incomplete, or even limiting. It keeps you tied to the past and prevents you from growing into the person you're capable of becoming. When you embrace the idea of burning your old identity, you give yourself the freedom to create something new. You break free from the constraints of what you used to be and start crafting the version of yourself that reflects your true potential. This doesn't mean abandoning who you are. It means giving yourself permission to evolve, to be dynamic, and to grow beyond the boundaries that you've previously set for yourself. So how can you begin burning your old identity and recreating yourself? First, reflect on the identities you've been holding on to. Ask yourself, which labels or stories am I clinging to that no longer serve me? It might be helpful to journal or talk through these with someone you trust. Then consciously choose to let go of those limiting beliefs or behaviors. Start making small changes, whether it's adjusting the way you speak to yourself, taking on a new challenge, or pursuing a passion that's always been on your mind. Every small step toward reinvention is an act of freedom. Imagine today, instead of letting the weight of your past identity hold you back, you decided to let go of the labels that no longer define you. You embraced change, allowed yourself to evolve, and began living in alignment with the person you are becoming. By doing so, you would unlock the potential for growth, freedom, and authenticity in a way that allows you to become the best version of yourself. 7. Seek experiences that alter your perception. How often do you find yourself stuck in the same routine, living life on autopilot and seeing the world in the same way day after day? It's easy to fall into a pattern where everything feels familiar, predictable, and safe. But the truth is, routine and familiarity can trap us in narrow thinking and limit our growth. To truly live life to the fullest, we need to break out of that comfort zone and actively seek experiences that challenge and expand our perception of the world. The Stoics believed that, in order to grow and improve, we must constantly challenge our thinking and our limits. They didn't advocate for a life of comfort and ease. Instead, they embraced discomfort, difficulty, and new experiences because they understood that it's in these challenges that we find growth. The philosopher Seneca once wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. By stepping out of our comfort zones and using ourselves to new and different experiences, we expand our minds, our understanding of the world, and our ability to adapt and thrive." Think about it. When was the last time you did something that truly altered your perspective? It could be anything from traveling to a new place, engaging in deep philosophical discussions, or even trying something physically demanding. These experiences shake up your routine and force you to view the world through a different lens. You might come to realize how much more there is to life beyond what you know. You may discover new passions, challenge your assumptions, and even shift your beliefs by actively seeking experiences that alter your perception. You open yourself up to a wealth of new possibilities. It's easy to get stuck in the cycle of comfort, but real transformation happens when you break that cycle. This doesn't mean seeking out chaos or discomfort for its own sake. It means deliberately choosing to put yourself in situations where your perception will be challenged, where you can learn something new, and where growth is inevitable. Whether it's through new travel experiences, learning a new skill, or simply stepping into unfamiliar social situations, each experience adds a new layer to your understanding of the world and your place within it. So how can you start seeking experiences that alter your perception today? Begin by thinking about areas of your life where you feel stuck or stagnant. What could you try that is completely new and different from your usual routine? This might mean taking a solo trip, reading books outside of your usual interests, engaging in a challenging physical activity, or even spending time with people whose perspectives differ from your own. The key is to embrace newness, discomfort, and the unknown. Each time you push yourself into unfamiliar territory, you invite transformation and a fresh perspective. Imagine today, instead of sticking to your usual habits, you made an intentional effort to seek out something that would challenge your way of thinking. Whether it's traveling to a new place, learning a new skill, or simply trying something outside your comfort zone, you would experience the world in a whole new way. This openness to change and growth is what keeps life vibrant, meaningful, and truly fulfilling. 8. Do things that make no logical sense just because. How often do you find yourself calculating every decision, making sure it fits within a logical framework or serves a practical purpose? While being practical and thoughtful in our choices is important, there's something magical about doing something simply because it makes you feel alive, not because it makes sense. Too often we let logic and reason dictate our every move, but life doesn't always work that way. Sometimes the most powerful experiences come when we throw logic out the window and do something purely for the joy of it. Think about how freeing it would feel to do something just because it excites you, even if it doesn't have a clear benefit or outcome. The Stoics themselves were deeply concerned with the idea of living a life of purpose, but they also understood the importance of living fully and experiencing life as it comes. They didn't see every moment as something to be maximized for productivity. They understood that embracing spontaneity and enjoying life's absurdities was also essential for growth in our modern world. We're often conditioned to make logical decisions, choosing the safest path, the most practical option, the one with the most guaranteed outcomes, but this approach can make life feel rigid, predictable, and quite frankly a little dull. When was the last time you did something that made no sense at all just for the thrill of it? Maybe it was dancing in the rain, taking an impromptu trip to a place you've never been, or striking up a conversation with a complete stranger. These experiences may not have a practical purpose, but they enrich our lives in ways that logic and planning can't. By breaking free from the constant need to justify everything, you invite joy, creativity, and spontaneity into your life. Doing something that makes no logical sense can spark new ideas, break you out of mental ruts, and remind you that life isn't just about efficiency, it's about experience. These moments often become the stories we tell, the memories we cherish, and the experiences that make us feel fully alive. So how can you start doing things that make no logical sense today? Start by letting go of the need to rationalize every decision. When you feel the urge to try something spontaneous, whether it's trying a new hobby, saying yes to an impromptu invitation, or simply doing something absurd for fun, go for it. Don't worry about the outcome. Let go of your need to control every moment and allow yourself the freedom to be spontaneous. Imagine today, instead of planning every detail or thinking about how practical your actions are, you allowed yourself to do something simply because it brought you joy. You danced when you felt like it. You explored something new, or you talked to someone you wouldn't normally approach. By embracing the unexpected, you invite new experiences that make life richer and more vibrant, reminding yourself that not everything needs to have a purpose. Sometimes being is enough. 9. Accept that suffering is inevitable, then transcend it. How many times have you tried to avoid pain or suffering in your life? We live in a world where we're constantly told to live your best life and be happy, as though happiness is the only emotion worth experiencing. But here's the truth. Suffering is an inevitable part of the human experience. It's not something we can avoid forever, no matter how hard we try. What we can control, however, is how we respond to it, and whether we allow it to define us. The Stoics had a profound understanding of suffering. They didn't shy away from it. They accepted it as a part of life. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, frequently wrote about the inevitability of pain and suffering, emphasizing that it's not suffering itself that harms us, but our resistance to it. When we try to escape from or resist suffering, we add layers of stress, frustration, and anxiety. But when we embrace it, when we accept that pain and hardship are simply part of the human condition, we free ourselves from its grip. Think about it. When was the last time you suffered, and how did you react? Did you try to avoid it, or did you face it head on? The more we resist pain, the more it persists. The truth is, suffering is not something to be feared or avoided. It's an opportunity for growth. Every time we face hardship, we have the chance to build resilience, deepen our empathy, and learn more about ourselves. When we transcend suffering, we don't do so by avoiding it. We do so by choosing how we respond to it. This is where true strength comes from. It's not in running away from discomfort, but in learning how to sit with it, process it, and allow it to fuel our growth. The Stoics practiced amor fati, the love of fate, meaning they learned to love every part of their life, even the painful moments, because they understood that everything had the potential to teach them something valuable. By accepting suffering as a part of life, we stop letting it control us and instead begin to control how we let it shape us. So how can you start accepting suffering and transcending it today? Begin by acknowledging that life is filled with both joy and pain, and both are necessary for growth. When you face hardship, don't resist it. Instead, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this experience make me from growing into the person you're capable of becoming? When you embrace the idea of burning your old identity, you give yourself the freedom to create something new. You break free from the constraints of what you used to be and start crafting the version of yourself that reflects your true potential. This doesn't mean Abandoning who you are, it means giving yourself permission to evolve, to be dynamic, and to grow beyond the boundaries that you've previously set for yourself. So how can you begin burning your old identity and recreating but as something that can teach you, transform you, and help you evolve into a stronger, more capable person? When you stop fearing suffering, you take away its power over you and find the freedom to transcend it. 10. Play. The cosmic joke. Laugh at existence. Have you ever taken a moment to just laugh at life, the absurdity of it all, the unpredictable nature of existence, and how often we get tangled in things that really aren't as serious as we make them out to be? Life is a paradox, a game, a joke, a wild adventure with no real punchline. The more seriously we take it, the more stressed and overwhelmed we become. But what if the secret to enjoying life to the fullest lies in embracing its absurdities and laughing at the cosmic joke? The Stoics were not opposed to humor or lightness in life. In fact, they understood that laughter and a playful attitude could be powerful tools for maintaining balance and perspective. They often reminded themselves to view life from a detached, almost humorous perspective. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reflected on how life is fleeting and filled with contradictions. He knew that by taking life too serious, we trap ourselves in the very things that bring us pain, instead of getting bogged down by the constant pursuit of perfection or control. The Stoics recommended accepting life's imperfection with a sense of humor and grace. Think about it. How often do you take situations in your life, your job, your relationships, your goals so seriously that they create stress and anxiety? It's easy to get caught up in the belief that everything needs to go perfectly, that every outcome must be controlled, and that we must succeed at every moment. But in reality, life is filled with messiness, uncertainty, and surprises. When you learn to laugh at these unpredictable moments, you take away their power to cause stress. You see them for what they truly are: temporary, fleeting experiences that don't define your happiness or worth. Laughing at life doesn't mean being indifferent to its challenges or ignoring its serious moments. It's about adopting a mindset that refuses to get overwhelmed by the seriousness of life's ups and downs. It's about seeing the humor in our struggles, understanding that no matter how hard we try, we can't control everything, and that's okay. By embracing life's contradictions and imperfections, we free ourselves from the pressure to be perfect and allow ourselves to truly enjoy the ride. So how can you start playing the cosmic joke and laughing at existence today? Begin by stepping back and viewing life from a more detached perspective. When something unexpected or inconvenient happens, instead of reacting with frustration, try laughing at the absurdity of it. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? How can I find humor in this situation? By approaching life's challenges with a light heart, you'll find that the pressure to always have everything figured out will lift, and you'll begin to enjoy the journey, no matter how unpredictable it may be. Imagine today, instead of getting bogged down by the serious, stressful parts of life, you took a step back and laughed at the chaos. You saw life for the paradox. It truly is letting go of the need to control everything and embracing the humor in the unpredictable moments. By doing so, you'll experience greater joy, freedom, and peace, knowing that life's cosmic joke is best played with a smile. As we've journeyed through these 10 ways to enjoy your life to the fullest, beyond conventional wisdom, it's clear that true fulfillment doesn't come from following the typical path or chasing after perfection. Instead, it comes from embracing the chaos, finding meaning in the actions you take, and accepting that life in all its unpredictability is a gift. By choosing to live with purpose, laughter, and the freedom to reinvent yourself, you open up space for growth, adventure, and genuine happiness. The pursuit of life's meaning doesn't have to be a search. It's something you create in every moment, every decision, and every experience. Remember, life is not meant to be perfect or predictable. It's a wild, beautiful ride that's full of lessons, contradictions, and even laughter. The more you allow yourself to engage with life's chaos and absurdities, the more you'll find joy and peace in simply being alive. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Start creating your own meaning and laugh at the cosmic joke that is life. You've got everything you need to live fully. Embrace it. Conclusion: life isn't about waiting for the perfect moment or achieving some flawless ideal. It's about immersing yourself in the chaos, creating meaning through action and laughing at the beautiful unpredictability of it all. By abandoning the chase for perfection, letting go of the need for constant validation, and daring to reinvent yourself, you invite true fulfillment. Remember, the fullest life is one lived with courage, curiosity, and a touch of irreverent joy. Embrace it fully, not someday, but now.